afternoon everyone. Today under the big picture series we are going to discuss about RCEP. RCEP. RCEP has been in the news for quite some time. Why it has been in the news? Because India was negotiating to be a part of RCEP and negotiations were going on. In 2019, our Prime Minister Mr. Modi has even gone to Thailand for the negotiations and the final deal, but India pulled out of it, and last year, that is 2020, November 2020, finally the deal has been signed. So RCEP has been in the news, and India has now withdrawn itself from RCEP. There are so many articles, there are so many news items with respect to RCEP, whether it was a right decision of India or India has missed the bus, or India should not have withdrawn at a time when we are going through a recession phase due to pandemic and all those things. So let us go through the whole journey of RCEP. Very briefly, we'll talk about RCEP, what it is, what it will do in this particular region, and then India's withdrawal from this, how it is going to impact India's withdrawal, and what is the way forward. So let us very briefly understand what is this RCEP. And even in UPSC we are getting questions from RCEP. In prelims, we have 2 years back they have asked a question in prelims from RCEP, like who are the members in RCEP. So this is one grouping which has been in the news. So what is this RCEP? Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. So this is a trade agreement. What is a trade agreement? Trade agreement is basically where countries, it could be bilateral trade agreement, it could be multilateral trade agreement. So it's a agreement where countries, they come for an agreement, they come to decide certain terms to the trade which is going to benefit both the countries, or if there are more than 2 countries, then all the countries. So it's a kind of a agreement to facilitate free and fair trade among the signatory countries. So RCEP is a regional comprehensive economic partnership. Why it's a regional? Because it's a partnership between ASEAN. ASEAN has 10 countries plus the countries with some of the countries with which your ASEAN has FTA, free trade agreement. So we have here China, then we have Australia, we have New Zealand, we have Japan, and we have South Korea. So it's a regional trade agreement between 10 ASEAN countries: China, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and South Korea. So overall this group is a 15-membered group. It's a 15-membered group. Earlier it was, when the negotiations were going on, so India was also a part of it, but last year November finally it has been signed without India. So now it is a 15-membered group. Now, what is the history of RCEP? RCEP negotiations started in 2012 in Cambodia. It is said like there is another trade group. Just have a brief understanding of what it was. So there was another trade group which was in 2005. TPP was, that is your Trans-Pacific Partnership. So that group was, China was not part of it. It was mainly led by US plus 11 countries. We had countries like Japan was there, we had countries Australia, Chile, then Canada was there, Mexico, Peru, Vietnam. So overall it was, earlier it was a 12-member group countries. So China was not involved in it, and then China also started to initiate a grouping where China would be a major part of it. So that's why your RCEP, it started in 2012, and after the gestation period of 8 years, finally 2020 it has been signed. Now TPP, what has happened, this Trans-Pacific Partnership, US and 11 other countries were there. So it was initiated in 2005, but when Mr. Trump came to power in 2016, USA withdrew from TPP. USA has withdrawn from TPP, and then Japan has taken the initiative, and Japan has again reorganized this TPP. So now in 2016, when your USA withdrew from it, so Japan took the lead, it took the initiative, and it again re-energized the group, and now it is called as CP, just a moment. Okay, there is something wrong happening. Okay, now it is called as CPTPP, that is your Comprehensive and Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership. So CPTPP, it is your 11 member countries. Minus your US is not there. So now from 12, TPP was 12, so TPP minus US is CPTPP. So the base for RCEP was put when your TPP was initiated in 2005. So this is just a brief idea what is TPP, what is CPTPP, and what is RCEP. And if you see why I am talking about CPTPP also, because we will be comparing RCEP with CPTPP also. So if you see now the members also, some of the members of RCEP are also the members of CPTPP. RCEP and CPTPP. So there are 7 common members amongst the two. In the both the groupings 7 members ऐसे हैं जो आपके RCEP के भी members हैं और आपके CPTPP के भी members हैं. RCEP में 15 है, so here you have 8 and here you have 4 other members. So there are certain members who are common in the grouping, and these members are your Japan is there, your South Korea is there, Australia is there, New Zealand is there, Brunei is there, Malaysia is there, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Malaysia is there, and Vietnam is there. So we have 7 common members amongst these two groups. So this is just a brief idea about what is RCEP and what is this CPTPP, because these were in the news for quite some time when we were hearing about the criticism of your India not joining India not joining RCEP. So there were comparisons also with CPTPP. So that's why we just went through a very brief idea about what the other group is. Now let's come back to your RCEP. So RCEP is basically, it's a regional grouping, it's a trade group between your ASEAN and 5 countries. Now, why this group is so important? So let us first discuss about RCEP in brief, and then we will talk about India and RCEP equations. Okay. Now, why it is important? RCEP. Why it is important? It is very, very important grouping. Why? Because it is commanding 30% of global population and approximately 29% of global trade. So if you see the size of the group, this is a very, very big group, and because of its sheer size, it becomes very important. So one point is, the point number 1, why it is important? It is important because of its grand size, which is having 30% of the global population and 29% of the global trade. Now, another important thing about this is, like, this is the first time where China has entered into a regional multilateral trade agreement. Though China is having bilateral trade agreements with so many countries, but this is for the first time that China is entering into a regional multilateral trade agreement. So, it becomes all the more very important. And then why it is further important? Because under this agreement, under RCEP, we are going to reduce tariffs and non-tariff barriers to trade. Your tariff and non-tariff barriers to trade would be reduced, so that trade could be facilitated, trade could be increased within the member countries in goods, services, investments. So, over the period of time, within 20 years, we are going to see the reduction in your tariff and non-tariff barriers to facilitate trade. And the time when it has been signed, it is very, very important. Now, the world is facing the recession because of pandemic. So, the countries are now trying to recover from the pandemic. So, the time during which it has been signed is itself a kind of a ray of hope to the countries. So, it is also important from that perspective. And also, when we are talking about time, it is also a time where we have seen that protectionism is gaining momentum. Be it your Brexit, be it your America First, protectionism is gaining importance. So, signing of this RCEP is a kind of a signal that multilateralism still is required by countries. So, that is also very important. And apart from these things, why it is important? Because this RCEP agreement is going to increase the trade in the region. It is going to make a or evolve a new global value addition in the world. It is going to be developed. It is going to be developed as a regional global value addition region. Why we are talking about your regional grouping or supply chain? It will be a kind of a new supply chain. This region could become a new supply chain. It could become a new area where we will see that lot of value addition would be happening. Now, why I am talking about this is because if you see, let me just clear this. If you see this, that ASEAN has free trade agreements with Australia, it has free trade agreements with New Zealand, it has free trade agreements with China, but still there were certain limitations in the bilateral free trade agreements. When it became a regional trade agreements, it is going to further simplify and harmonize the trade rules. How it is going to do that? Supposedly, Malaysia had an FTA with, say, China. Now, that China is supplying certain product which has components from Australia. It was using components from Australia. So, in that case, they will not get the benefit of free trade agreement because the product is using a component from Australia. But under the RCEP, now the products or the components from within the region, from within the member countries would be treated equally. So, this is going to further harmonize the trade and it is going to further increase the trade within the region, and the countries would be looking for the suppliers within the group, within the block. So, this will further facilitate or this would further evolve the supply chain mechanism within the region. So, that is why this is a very, very important group. It is very important. Number one, as we talked about its size. Number two, first time China is in a multilateral trade agreement, regional multilateral trade agreement. Third thing is like the time during which it has been signed, pandemic, so it is going to be bring certain positivity in the economies of the countries. And then apart from that, when the world is going through protectionism, this is a ray of hope for multilateralism, and then this is further going to harmonize the trade rules and increase the trade within the region. So this is very, very important group, or this is RCEP is going to benefit all the member countries. Initially it might be benefiting some of the bigger economies, say for example China, USA, South Korea, Australia, because their manufacturing base is quite big in comparison to the smaller countries who are part of this RCEP grouping. But in the long term, when there would be increased trade and when there will be reduction in your tariff and non-tariff barriers within 20 years, this whole grouping, all the members would be getting benefited from RCEP. So RCEP is a very important trade agreement. Now, it is very important trade agreement, but it is also not without its own challenges. Though it's very, very important trade agreement, we have to see, and we have also noticed that global trade agreements, they start with lot of enthusiasm, but later on they have not been performing very well. We have seen it through Brexit, what has happened. UK has come out of the grouping. We have also seen that even at WTO there is a lot of problems that are going on in WTO. So we start with lot of positivity, enthusiasm, but there are certain challenges in the group, like RCEP also has challenge like any other grouping. So we also need to know what are the challenges which might impact the overall evolution or the growth of RCEP. So there are certain challenges to RCEP. When we see the members, if you see the members, it has ASEAN plus you have Japan, you have South Korea, you have Australia, you have New Zealand, and we have China also. China. So if you see ASEAN, ASEAN itself is a very diverse group. Here the 10 countries, some of the countries are very developed countries, like we have Singapore, and on the other side of the spectrum we have Laos, we have Cambodia. So this is a very diversified group है ना, कहीं पे बहुत rich countries है इसमें, and कहीं पे आपकी जो है बहुत poor economies हैं, कई well developed economies हैं, कई आपकी developing economies हैं. And within ASEAN also we have seen that some of the countries are pro USA, some of the countries are pro China है ना. कुछ कंट्रीज जो है वो चाइना के साथ उनका रिलेशनशिप अच्छा नहीं है. दैट इज व्हाट वी हैव सीन इन द साउथ चाइना सी डिस्प्यूट. सो देयर आर कंट्रीज विच आर प्रो चाइना एंड प्रो यूएसए. आसियान इटसेल्फ इज अ डिवाइडेड हाउस. अभी तो ये डील सिर्फ साइन हुई है. इट हैज टू बी अप्रूव्ड बाय द पार्लियामेंट ऑफ द रिस्पेक्टिव कंट्रीज. दैट इज इट हैज टू बी रेटिफाइड. सो ratification in the parliaments might take some time, because it's not that easy that China would, because this group is dominated by China. So the countries who are pro USA or the countries who are ASEAN countries who are facing problem in South China Sea with China, they would be doing it very easily. So one thing is, signing is one thing, but ratification we have to wait and watch for the ratification. Then we also have seen that China versus Japan, they are having issues, and especially during the time of pandemic we have seen that how loud Australia was against China. So even Australia and China have issues. So there are, it's not that it's a very harmonious grouping. They have their political issues. Japan and China, they are fighting over islands. Australia and China, they have issues, and during the pandemic it was very, Australia was very vocal against China. And then we also have to see, like we were discussing about your CTPPP. So this is your 7 members. 7 members of your RCEP are also members of your CTPPP, another rival trade grouping. So common members, some of them are there in CTPPP also and some of them are in RCEP also. So दोनों rival groups में कुछ common members हैं, and दोनों grouping जो दोनों आपके groups हैं, इनके terms and conditions are also different. CTPP is more deeper integration. It talks about issues like intellectual property rights, it talks about environmental issues, it talks about your state sponsored enterprises, it talks about your labor laws. It is very stringent on these norms. But here in this RCEP, it is not very stringent on environmental issues or labor laws or your dispute redressal mechanisms and all. So it is a little lenient, it is not that stringent as CTPP. So there are 7 members who are common to 2 different groups, whose parameters are completely different, and they are, at the end of the day, they are also rival groups. Every trade group is in rivalry with each other to get the maximum benefit. So CTPP and your RCEP, so that is another challenge that RCEP might face. And then apart from this, if you see, even this RCEP is mainly China dominated because it is the largest economy, and also because of its political hold, China is the biggest country in the grouping. And then we have Quad also, quadrilateral group. Quad group is also there. Quad has members, Japan is there, US is there, India is there, and Australia is there. So Quad, which is considered as a grouping to contain China, contain the rise of China. So Japan and Australia, who are in a grouping to contain China, are also there in RCEP, है ना. तो ये भी एक समस्या हो सकती है. Why I am talking about these political differences? Because ultimately a group can work only when there is harmony amongst the members. तो यहाँ पे जो है बहुत सारी contradictions हैं. So why this RCEP has been a hush hush affair? Because China जो है, China के against we have seen अभी US China trade rivalry चल रही है, आपकी sort of a cold war, trade war is going on between China and USA. And then at the time of pandemic, we have seen that the whole globe is criticizing China for its activities. आपका जो global आपकी supply chains जो है सारी disrupt हो गई हैं because at the time of pandemic, because everything was getting, maximum things were getting manufactured in China. So now countries are looking for options, they are looking for newer global supply chain regions or mechanisms. तो we have seen कि China के against सब लोग खड़े हो गए. So China has though the negotiations were going on for 8 years, but this was the time when China got the opportunity to bring them all together और RCEP बन गया. But still we have seen कि बहुत सारे differences हैं. China, Japan, China, Australia, Japan and Australia are members of Quad and they are also the members of RCEP. RCEP में they would be working together for economic progress, and in Quad they are there to contain the rise of China. तो दोनों के बिल्कुल objectives ही they are completely opposite. So how would they harmonize? That we have to see. They have to dehyphenate their relationship. vis-a-vis Quad, vis-a-vis RCEP. So we have to see that also. And then CTPP may 7 members of your RCEP are also members of your CTPP. So that is again a contradiction. And on top of it, within ASEAN, the pro-US countries, in those countries it might be a tough task to get RCEP ratified in their parliaments. So these are some of the challenges with which we have to see how RCEP as a group is going to deal with these challenges. So this is just a brief about what RCEP is. So RCEP is a grouping of ASEAN and these countries. Now, RCEP, why it is important, what are the challenges? Now let us come to the main question, RCEP and India. RCEP and India. India has been negotiating for RCEP membership since its inception. ये 2012 में कंबोडिया में जब स्टार्ट हुआ था इसका नेगोशिएशंस, तब से इंडिया इसमें नेगोशिएट कर रहा है. एंड फाइनली इन 2019 इंडिया हैज़ withdrawn itself from the RCEP negotiations, and November 2020 RCEP has been signed minus India. And when India has withdrawn from RCEP, our foreign minister Mr. Jaishankar has said that it is better to have no deal rather than a bad deal, है ना, कि deal ना हो rather than कि वो deal खराब हो. So why, what are the reasons why we are withdrawn from RCEP? RCEP से हम क्यों बाहर आए? So there are certain concerns which India was negotiating for almost 8 years, but those concerns of India had not been addressed. So finally India thought that it's not right just to join, just for the sake of joining a big mega trade agreement. India should join. So India has withdrawn. So what are those concerns? Number one concern that was raised by India is, like, when we would be in an agreement of RCEP, then we have to harmonize, we have to reduce our tariff barriers, है ना, अपने tariff barriers हमको कम करना पड़ेगा. So when there would be tariff reduction in the tariff barriers, or there would be tariff rationalization, I would say, when there would be tariff rationalization, it would lead to your import surge. So when there would be tariff rationalization, it would lead to import surge. So if the import surge is huge, it is going to impact our domestic इंडस्ट्रीज़, है ना, हमारी जो डोमेस्टिक इंडस्ट्रीज़ है, अगर चीप इंपोर्ट आपका आता है, बाहर से सस्ता सामान आता है, इट इज़ गोइंग टू इम्पैक्ट आवर डोमेस्टिक इंडस्ट्रीज़. सो इंडिया वांटेड दैट देयर शुड बी अ सेफगार्ड मैकेनिज्म which should be given to the countries to check import surge. So India wanted that India should have a right, or the country should have a right to go for a safeguard tariff, or we can go for some kind of safeguard duties, so that this import surge is not going to impact negatively the domestic industry. So this has not been addressed. So this was one of the reasons why India has not agreed to sign the agreement. Then second thing is, when we are into a trade agreement, the purpose of any trade agreement is free and fair trade. So when we are saying free and fair, so when it has to be fair, then there should be transparency. है ना. फ्री एंड फेयर ट्रेड कब होगा, जबकि वहां पे आपकी ट्रांसपेरेंसी होगी. सो इंडिया वांटेड दैट दिस ट्रांसपेरेंसी क्लॉज should be properly negotiated before coming into a final agreement. Why we were so prominent, or why we wanted that there should be transparency clause before the agreement is finally signed? Because we have seen that China is providing lot of subsidies, it is providing lot of state capital for the various industries, export related industries. So when China is providing so much of support to its domestic industries, so this is going to defeat the purpose of free and fair trade. It has to be fair, it has to be free. So when you are providing state support and then you are saying that it should be a free trade, so this is defeating the purpose of RCEP. So India wanted that transparency clause should be very prominent. And third thing is, India wanted that there should be a very strong regulation, or there should be a very strong clause on rule of origin. What is this rule of origin? Rule of origin is, it's a criteria to determine the national source of a product. Say for example, if there is, like India is giving more import concessions or import tariff concessions to a country, say India is giving a more import tariff concessions to a country X in comparison to China. So what would China do is, China would get its things assembled here, so that it can avail the benefit of your concessions and it will send it to India. So this is a indirect, we would be indirectly, it would be a kind of a FTA with China, and indirectly it would be giving more and more leverage to the Chinese goods to come to India at a cheaper rates. So this will further lead to the surge, import surge. Chinese Chinese products would get a easy access to India. So we wanted to have a very definite strong clause on rule of origin. So it was also not taken into consideration. Then like India is having a stronghold in the service sector, and when you see the RCEP countries, whether it is China, whether it is Japan, whether it is South Korea, most of them are very strong in manufacturing goods, and we have a leverage in service sector. So we wanted that more and more concession should be given to the service sector, but they wanted that first it should be on the manufacturing sector, and then we will go for, in the long run we will go for more concessions in services. So that is also one point of conflict or contradiction between India and RCEP members. And then at the same time, India also wanted that there should be special status of a non-India, supposedly India wants to give a special status. India wants to increase trade. Say for example, India wants to increase trade with say UAE, and for that it is giving some special terms of trade to UAE. So it should not be a kind of a foundation on India to give those special concessions or those special terms to all the members of RCEP. So India was very adamant on that if it is going for a special trade term with any of the non-members who are not the members of RCEP, so those concessions it should not be bound to give to all the members of RCEP. So that is also another aspect on which we had certain differences. And then apart from this, this is RCEP group, it is said that some of the critics say that this is a Chinese multilateralism. And when we have seen in the past that generally in the trade agreements or trade groupings, one country dominates. Like here RCEP, China is dominating. When you talk about your नाफ्टा, नॉर्थ अमेरिका जो है आपका फ्री ट्रेड अग्रीमेंट, नॉर्थ अमेरिकन फ्री ट्रेड अग्रीमेंट नाफ्टा, वहाँ पे आपका यूएसए का डोमिनेंस है. सो यहाँ पे अगर चाइना का डोमिनेंस हो जाएगा तो इंडिया इज नॉट, इंडिया डज नॉट वांट अ काइंड ऑफ अ agreement or kind of a free trade grouping where one country is dominant. There should be a free trade where everyone is equally participating. So that was also one of the concerns. So overall, if you see, what were the issues that were raised by India? One was with respect to your rule of origin, one was with respect to your import surge, where we wanted to have certain safeguard mechanism, and then we wanted that there should be more transparency, and then if we are coming into a special trade agreement with some other countries, so those terms should not be forced on, like India should not be forced to give those concessions to all the members of your RCEP. So these were certain conditions which were not being taken or which were not given due consideration by the grouping, and that's why Mr. S. Jaishankar has said that it's rather better to move out of the deal rather than to go for a bad deal. So these are some of the reasons why India has moved out of this RCEP negotiations. Now, some people are saying that this has been a wrong decision of India. Some people are saying that this has been a right decision of India. So now let us briefly look at why this has been a wrong decision or why this has been a right decision. So why it has been a wrong decision? Some of the critics are citing certain reasons. So what India could have got in being in RCEP, or positives, or what India could have gained being in RCEP. You know, why India should have been in this group. So one of the positive things would have been that India would have been the in the rule making process of this one of the mega trade deals in the world, है ना. हमारी position क्या होती अगर हम यहाँ होते? So we would have been in the rule making body of RCEP, क्योंकि हम उसके बिल्कुल शुरू के member होते हैं. Because RCEP does not mean only 10+5. Later on, other countries are also invited, they are also welcome to join it, but these are the core members. If India would have joined from the very beginning, then India would have been in the rule making body of RCEP. So that is one thing, you know, core member, or it would have been in the rule making body. You know, rule follow करने की जगह हम rule makers होते. Second thing is, at a time when the country is going through some economic depression, when the country is facing the recession because of structural reasons, because of pandemic, then this if India would have joined, then it would have given a kind of some positive environment to the economic scenario of the country, है ना. तो कुछ पॉजिटिविटी आती अगर हम इसको ज्वाइन करते. देन इंडिया वुड हैव इजीली गॉट सम ऑफ द इन्वेस्टमेंट्स, टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफ़र. हमारे यहाँ पे भी जो है बहुत सारा आपका जो है हमारी इंडस्ट्री, जैसे आप सर्विस सेक्टर हो गया और बाकी एरियाज़ हो गया, तो वहाँ पे देयर कुड हैव बीन सम काइंड ऑफ अ बूम, है ना. तो वो भी एक फ़ायदा होता इफ़ वी वुड हैव जॉइंड इट. इन्वेस्टमेंट्स आ रहे होते, ट्रेड बढ़ रहा होता, देन वी वुड ऑल्सो हैव गॉट अ चांस टू बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ द चेंजिंग ग्लोबल सप्लाई चेन, है ना. जो आपका सप्लाई चेन का रीजन चेंज हो रहा है, वहाँ पे वी वुड हैव बीन अ पार्ट ऑफ दिस. सो दैट वुड ऑल्सो हैव हेल्प्ड इंडिया इन द लॉन्ग रन to update or to increase its trade in various other sectors also. So that is also one opportunity that people are saying that we have missed upon, that opportunity of increasing our trade. Then आपके when there would have been investment, so there would have been increase in employment also, है ना, बहुत सारी opportunities हमारे साथ खुल जाती had we been the part of RCEP. And then had we been in RCEP, then another thing that is that we would have been forced to do, which we are delaying, is to bring structural reforms in the economy. है ना, to be globally competitive we need to bring reforms, structural reforms in the economy. हमारा labor laws जो है, हमारा आपके और भी जो है आपके labor laws are there, your economic restructuring is required. आपके different sectors, manufacturing sector को boost देने के लिए, ease of doing business के parameters को improve करने के लिए, we would have been forced to do that. That is very much required and it is getting delayed, है ना. तो अगर हम इसके पार्ट होते, had we been the part of RCEP, then to become more competitive we would have been pressurized to go for these reforms at the earliest, and ultimately these are the reforms that we need to do to improve our economic condition. So had we been part of it, then it would have been a kind of a pressure on us to go for these reforms ASAP, as soon as possible. So these are some of the benefits that India would have gained, like we would have got lot of opportunity, investments आ रही होती, trade हमारा बढ़ गया होता, हम rule making body के part होते. Then apart from that, this would also, some of the countries like Japan, Australia, they want that India should have been in the RCEP. Why? Because they also understand the China and they want to have someone who can be a counterbalance to China. So had we been in the group, so it would have been some kind of a balancing act towards China. तो चाइना को काउंटर करने के लिए, उसकी हेजिमनी को काउंटर करने के लिए इंडिया का वहाँ होना would have provided a relief to many of the members in the RCEP. So being in the RCEP, India would have gained so many things. Strategic importance मिलती हमें यहाँ पे because to counterbalance China. फिर हमारे we would have been the part of the global value chain, global supply chain, हम उसके part हो सकते थे. इसके अलावा जो है हमारे यहाँ पे जो है इन्वेस्टमेंट्स आती, नई इंडस्ट्रीज डेवलप होती, एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन होता. सो देयर हैव बीन सो मेनी थिंग्स दैट वी कुड हैव गेन्ड had we been in this RCEP grouping. That is why some of the critics are saying that India has missed the bus. It has been a bad decision on the part of India. And then this also, some of the critics are also saying that it has given a kind of a bad impression about India, or not a bad, or rather negative impression about India, that India is also following protectionism in one way or the other, like your US. So this is also saying that India is not that open market. It's not an open market, it's not that open to your globalization. So India is also promoting some kind of a protectionism. So these are some of the criticisms that are there, that why we should have joined it, है ना. तो it is हमारा एक negative सा image create हो रहा है कि India भी in a way it is also against globalization, it is promoting protectionism. So these are some of the criticisms that India should have joined. But when you see on the other side, what would have been our challenges? What would have been our challenges had we joined RCEP? Challenges. When you see if India would have joined RCEP without improving its basic structural things in the economy, we would not have benefited that much. Why I'm saying this? Because had we joined it, then there, like our manufacturing sector, basically our manufacturing sector is at the bottom of the pyramid, है ना. जो हमारा मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बेस है वो बहुत ही कमज़ोर है. आर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर इज़ नॉट दैट वेल डेवलप्ड, and had we joined it, then there would have been import surge and it would have badly impacted our domestic industries. हम जो है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर के बिल्कुल बॉटम में है. There have been reports of the government, there have been report of Niti Aayog also, which has said that India does not have a very good experience with FTAs, है ना. हमारे अभी तक जितने भी FTAs हैं, we have FTA with your ASEAN, we have FTA with Japan, we have FTA with South Korea, and what we have seen, rather than increasing the benefits, we have seen that the trade deficit is against India. It is increasing every year. So we have not have a very good experience. We had not have a very good experience with respect to FTAs. So that was one of the reasons. So now the question is, FTA हम क्यों नहीं अच्छा कर पा रहे. Like it is said that 5 to 25% ही हम FTA को utilize कर पाए हैं with various countries. So why 5 to 25% only? So our manufacturing base, that is very very weak. Supposedly we have a FTA with say a country, ठीक है. India has a FTA with a country called A, and we have agreed that we would be reducing the tariff on say 90 products, ठीक है. 90 प्रोडक्ट्स में हम टैरिफ को रिड्यूस करेंगे. सो अगर हम 90 प्रोडक्ट्स में करेंगे तो इंडिया जो है सपोजिडली 25 प्रोडक्ट्स ही बना रहा है, एंड सपोजिडली ए इज मेकिंग 70 प्रोडक्ट्स. सो नेचुरली द मैक्सिमम बेनिफिट वुड कम टू ए, है ना. तो FTA हमारे लिए क्यों, why we are saying that we are having a negative experience with FTAs? We are having negative experience with FTAs because one of the reasons is our manufacturing base जो है वो बहुत ही weak है. So just open up into, just go to a agreement without improving without doing our homework, we would have not gained from our CEP. We need to improve our manufacturing base. So that is one thing. Then when you talk about the products that we export, you see China, ठीक है. चाइना को अगर आप देखते हो तो चाइना के साथ जो है, चाइना इज एक्सपोर्टिंग मोस्ट ऑफ योर फिनिश प्रोडक्ट्स, ठीक है. वैल्यू एडेड प्रोडक्ट्स, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स गुड्स एंड आइटम्स, आपके कैमराज हैं, फोन्स हैं, सो दोज काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. एंड व्हेन यू कंपेयर इट विद इंडिया, वी आर एट द lower end of the value chain. We are mostly exporting your raw material. So naturally जो finished प्रोडक्ट्स हैं उनके ऊपर जो है यू कैन हैव बेटर लेवरेज और बेटर बेनिफिट थ्रू FTAs. हमारा जो है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का जो है, एक तो हम बिल्कुल प्रोडक्ट्स ही बहुत कम मैन्युफैक्चर करते हैं, एंड एट द सेम टाइम द वैल्यू एडेड टू द प्रोडक्ट्स इज ऑल्सो वेरी वेरी लेस. सो नेचुरली वी आर नॉट गोइंग टू बी बेनिफिटेड बाय दीज FTAs, and this would have also been the same case had we signed our CEP. Then apart from that, we also need to see that the trade war is going on between China and USA, and then again the atmosphere is also not very positive towards China after the pandemic, है ना, because of the pandemic. So in a hush hush affair, without our proper negotiation, just for the sake of getting into this RCEP, had we gone there, then again this would have proved disastrous for us, है ना. ये भी एक होता. And when you see this RCEP, in this China has FTA with all the members of RCEP except India. So had India gone for this RCEP, then it would have been a kind of indirect FTA with China. Already हमारी domestic industries जो है चाइनीज़ इम्पोर्ट से इतना परेशान है. चाइनीज़ गुड्स जो है, चीप चाइनीज़ गुड्स हैव dominated the Indian markets. So had we signed this FTA without improving our manufacturing base, it would have proved disastrous for some of the important domestic industries. Similarly, in our agriculture sector also, Australia and New Zealand, they wanted that more this dairy products, their agriculture products should have flooded the Indian markets. So that would have proved disastrous, and then without improving our own manufacturing sector, agriculture sector, RCEP would have proved very disastrous for us. Then apart from this, there are certain apart from your geo-economic reasons, there are certain geopolitical reasons also. Right now we are witnessing a standoff at LAC. We have seen the dominance of the way China behaves. We have seen how China tries to dominate the smaller countries in South China Sea or in our neighborhood, like we have seen in Bhutan. So there are certain geopolitical issues also. When this standoff is going on, how can we go for a kind of a agreement with China where we are exposing our market to the cheap Chinese goods? So these are some of the important reasons why India has, or these would have been some of the challenges क्योंकि हमारा जो है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर आपका जो है प्रॉपरली डेवलप नहीं है. देन आपका जो है चाइना और यूएसए के बीच में अभी ट्रेड वॉर चल रहा है. देन इसके और विदाउट प्रॉपर नेगोशिएशंस अगर हम इसको साइन कर लेते हैं, सो दे इट वुड हैव प्रूव्ड नेगेटिव फॉर इंडिया, बिकॉज चाइना तो चाहता है कि ये फटाफट ख़त्म हो जाए. सो फटाफट ये डील हो जाए. इंडिया शुड हैव बीन पार्ट ऑफ इट. देन अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट, जो आपका वैल्यू एडिशन है जो हम अपने एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं, मोस्ट ऑफ द एक्सपोर्ट्स दैट वी डू आर इज रॉ मटीरियल. सो जब तक आपका वैल्यू एडिशन नहीं होगा एक्सपोर्ट्स में, तब तक वी वुड नॉट बी एबल टू गेन मच फ्रॉम दिस RCEP. And then because we are already having a huge trade deficit with China. So had we signed it without the concerns that we have raised, then it would have been a kind of a indirect FTA with China, and Indian market or especially our domestic market would have been badly impacted by this RCEP negotiations. So India has thought of not signing it at the moment. Now the very pertinent question is that now that we are out of this mega trade deal, is India moving towards your deglobalization? Or like we have also launched programs like Atmanirbhar Bharat, we have schemes like Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India. So are we also promoting America first kind of a thing through our Make in India or Atmanirbhar Bharat? So these are some of the questions, like are we moving towards protectionism, or what should be the way forward? The very pertinent question, what should be the way forward? See, had we signed this agreement, then of course our Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India would have been also impacted up to some extent. I would not say hugely impacted, because through this we would have got more investments also. So up to some extent it would have impacted. But when it comes, when the question comes is like, is India moving towards protectionism? So there is a big no. We are not moving towards protectionism, neither we are against globalization. Rather, India is towards globalization, but India wants that globalization should be free and fair globalization. It should not be a group which should be dominated by some of the global powers only. There should be a kind of a equality and equity in the groupings. So that is what India wants, and India does not want to get into a group with where its points are not being properly heard, just to show to the world that yes, we are pro globalization. We are very pragmatic this time. We want that if we have to go into a FTA, then it should be at our own term, it should be at our own cost, so that this FTA does not bring the trade deficit. This FTA does not impact our domestic industries. So we are not against globalization, we are not moving towards protectionism, rather we have become more practical, more pragmatic. If the deal is bad, then we are saying we will be without deal rather than going for a bad deal. So now the question is, what is the way forward? So for the time being, what we can say is, we can go for more bilateral agreements rather than going for multilateral agreements. And if you see, in the last 1 decade, last 10 years, our exports to countries like USA, our exports to Europe, it has increased from 38% to your 43%. हमारा जो है export जो है आपका 38 to 43%, there has been an increase to our exports to US and Europe. Whereas when you see, you see our exports to countries like South Korea, to Japan, it has decreased. It has decreased from 51%. It has decreased from 51% to 46%. है ना, जो जिन कंट्रीज के साथ we have FTA with South Korea, we have FTA with Japan, we have FTA with Australia. So our export to the countries have increased. The countries with whom we are not having FTAs, we are yet to sign a FTA with USA, we are yet to sign a trade deal with Europe, which is called as BETA, that is broad based investment and trade agreement. So we are yet to sign trade deals with USA and Europe, but our trade is increasing here. We have signed our trade FTAs with some of the countries, and we have seen that it is coming down. So it's not that we are doing bad. The only thing is, for the time being, we should now focus on more of the bilateral agreements rather than going for a multilateral agreement where our concerns are not properly addressed. And then now this Brexit has happened. So we have now the things, even European Union is now stable. So we can go for BITA. The negotiations have been going on for many years. So now we can push forward for FTA with Europe, we can push forward for FTA with UK, and that is what we are doing. It's not like we are getting, we are not doing anything. It's we are not dormant. We are working right now. We are also, we have to see how this Biden administration is going to negotiate trade with India. Maybe let's be positive. Maybe we could go for a kind of a trade agreement with USA also. है ना, ट्रम्प के टाइम की बात अलग थी, बाइडन के क्या टर्म्स एंड कंडीशंस आते. सो फॉर द टाइम बीइंग, focus on your bilateral trade deals and then go for multilateral trade deals only when our concerns are properly heard. And apart from this, what we need to do is that India के पास जो है, India is considered like Trump has also said that India is a tariff king, है ना. तो हमारा जो import पे जो हम tariff लगाते हैं, the tariff on the imports is very high in India. Import tariffs are very high. So that is why had we signed this RCEP, so हमें ये drastically अपना जो है tariff cut करना पड़ता, तो इससे जो है it would have been a huge revenue loss to India. So what we can do is slowly we need to in a phased manner we need to decrease our import tariffs, because जितना ज़्यादा आपका import tariff होगा और आप bilateral या multilateral agreements में जाओगे तो आपको drastically you have to cut the tariffs and it is going to impact the revenue collections. So in a phased manner we need to reduce our import tariffs. Ultimately we cannot say that we will be staying all alone. We have to be in one or the other groupings, trade groupings. So we have to bring it down. Even under WTO also, sometime later we have to bring down our tariffs. So that we have to do it in a phased manner. And another thing, very important thing is to correct our manufacturing sector. जो हमारा मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर है उसमें वेरियस वर्टिकल्स, वेरियस हॉरिजॉन्टल्स पे वी नीड टू वर्क. वी नीड टू डाइवर्सिफाई आवर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर. वी नीड टू ब्रिंग वैल्यू एडिशन टू आवर एक्सपोर्ट गुड्स. सो दैट ऑल्सो वी नीड टू, बिकॉज वी कैनॉट ऑलवेज से दैट इट इज गोइंग टू इम्पैक्ट आवर डोमेस्टिक इंडस्ट्रीज. इफ वी वांट टू बी ग्लोबली कॉम्पिटिटिव देन वी हैव टू डू आवर होमवर्क. सो दिस इज द टाइम वेयर वी कैन वर्क अपॉन, एंड दैट इज व्हाई we have seen certain initiatives in the recent times with respect to your labor environment, but that should not be at the cost of your humanity. Certain reforms are required, and in the ease of doing business we have to improve all the parameters. It's not only a few parameters, है ना. आपका जो है land acquisition, environmental clearance, आपका जो bureaucratic clearance, everything should be we have to improvise. So what we need to do is, for the time being, focus on multilateral bilateralism, then at the same time improve the manufacturing sector. In a phased manner decrease the tariff, import tariff, and at the same time what we can do is, we can, for the time being, if it suits us, we can be an observer for RCEP, है ना. completely उससे out ना हो करके we can also think of being an observer, which Japan and Australia also wants, that India should at least be an observer in the group. So there are so many options that we could look forward to, but at the base of it we cannot forget that we need to decrease our tariffs and we need to increase our manufacturing sector. See, it is said that the future is Asia, है ना, it is Asian century, and if you see RCEP, if you see CPTPP, which is itself showing that the trade is moving towards Asia, and India being one of the largest economies of Asia and one of the fastest growing economies in the world, India cannot keep itself out of these groupings. India needs to be a part of the global value chain. India needs to be a part of global supply chain, but these things could only be materialized, or these things can only be done when we are comfortable with our manufacturing sector, when we are confident that our products are equally competitive in the market. So RCEP is right now India is not a part of RCEP, but India has never said that it is never going to be a part of RCEP. So let's hope in future, if our concerns are addressed and if we are able to improve ourselves, become more competitive, one day India would be in RCEP or any other mega trade agreement. Thank you.